Flyers, Phillies, let's talk about them. Sixers, Eagles, let's talk about them. What the Union doing? Pull up with the crew and have a drink or two and let's talk about them. This a PHI bar. Bruce Willis, we die hard. I know you feel us, cause Philly fans is the best sports fans by far. No cheating here, we gon' keep it fair. You don't like my set, somebody help them. This the key, if we can disagree without disrespecting, everybody welcome. So what we talking about? Practice? What we talking about? Let's unpack this. Top shelf, sports talk, lights, cameras, we active.
Yo. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Try to multitask. I can't do it. It's too much pressure. Yo. But hold on. I'm here. Good morning. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody out there listening to the sound of my voice. Appreciate everybody for being a part of the show this year. Hold on, let me do something because I got that little echo going on. I don't know what's going on. Let's do that. I don't know why it's echoing, but it's always something with this technology. It just never works the way it's supposed to work. So am I. Were you so are you this morning? What are you saying? What did I say? Because I got an echo in my ear right now. What did I say? Hold on, let me. Hello? Oh, that's better. Here it is. Let's do it like that. So are you what? Good morning. Mother, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Thank God it's the last regular season game of the year for your Philadelphia Eagles. I am here too. Yes, you are here. And you always are here. So you always are here. So I appreciate that. Nothing like having a good supportive mother, even though she brings apart things to the show that we don't ask for because this is not the Weather Channel. So we kind of bump heads on that. So we're gonna work on that, get that together so that you can understand, those type of things are not appropriate for the show. Here's the thing. We are in the last week of the season. We got the Commanders today, which none of our starters are playing, or not very minimum, probably some of the O-line. But not much of our starters are playing in this game. And I've been hearing all week long that people want to look to see what Tanner McKee can do. And my question is, what? Why should it matter what he can do? Granted, you want him to be ready in case he has to come in a backup situation. We'll be broadcasting today's forecast. No, you won't. Nope. That's what I'm talking about. See? Nope. This is what I'm talking about right here. This stuff right here. Get the laugh at. You know what I mean? So, why would you want to see what Tanner McKee could bring in a situation like this? Like, why would you care? Like playing against the Commanders right now, who probably will play their starters, but I don't think they're going to actually go out to try and win the game. Why worry about what he does? You know what I mean? Because I think Commanders are pretty much, trying to figure out to get in the best draft position that they can. So I don't think they're going to come out and try to play tremendously hard. I don't think they're going to make it obvious that they're tanking, but they're trying to, get a good draft position for next year because, obviously their year ended up in a lot of injuries. So why would they want, try to mess up their future with getting a good draft pick by, trying to play hard and win the game? It does nothing for them. So in that mode, you got Tanner McKee playing as a starting quarterback. Why do you care how he looks? Unless you're auditioning him for draft capital next year to try to, trade him to a team who may be looking for a good quarterback. I believe Tanner McKee has all the tangibles to be a good quarterback. I think he's good enough to be maybe a starting quarterback, depending on the team he goes to, because he's the 6'6" quarterback. He's tall. He can see the field. Like he's got a nice arm. From what we saw, the little bit that we saw of him, we know he got a nice arm. But I don't care about what he does now. You know what I mean? I care more or less about us as Eagles fans, or us as the Eagles organization, getting some rest, getting some players' minds right, getting ready to go into the playoffs with an agenda of winning. That's what I want to see right now. I want the players to reset. I want, and this is, we haven't seen this all year long, I'll say it till the cows come home, but I want to see Kevin Patullo make second half adjustments. I want him to take his playbook and throw it out. Whatever worked in the first half, throw it out, and come in the second half completely changed, completely with a different game plan, and ready to go. We haven't seen it all year long, and I know we haven't seen it all year long, but I'm praying that he does it. I'm praying that he does it, because at the end of the day, this against the Bills, our defense was playing lights out. There's no reason why in the second half that Jalen Hurts didn't throw for a first down, didn't make a completion. There's no reason. I don't get it. Reserves are in there. Reserves are in to reserve the energy and spare injuries for the starters. Exactly. That is exactly well put. That's exactly what they're there to do. But the point of it all is that, I mean, like I said, I've heard a lot of, even analysts say that they're looking forward to seeing what Tanner McKee can do. And I'm just trying to figure out why. What would be the point? You know what I mean? What would be the point of that? And that's the only thing I'm trying to figure out. What would be the point of trying to see what Tanner McKee brings to the table? What are you getting out of that? What are you hoping to see? Like, why? Like I said, like you just said in your comment, the reserves are there to reserve, and reserve injuries for the starting unit. And that's exactly the truth. I'm not caring about what Tanner McKee can do in this game. I'm caring about what our offense, our starting unit, can do come first round against whoever we're playing. I'm caring about Kevin Patullo getting his act together and figuring out ways to change up the play calling from first half to second half, or from play to play. Whatever works for you, stick to it for a while, but make plays out of it. Like, don't keep running the same thing. Good morning, Jabria. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for being here today. Don't keep running the same plays constantly. Don't be predictable, because if we're predictable in the playoffs, one and done. We will be one and done if we're predictable in the playoffs. I'm telling y'all that now. We will be predictable if we're predictable in the playoffs, we're done. If these teams are going in the playoffs, knowing what we're getting ready to do before we do it, just based off by the formation, we're done. That's why it's very, very important that Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, and this offense, Jalen Hurts included, need to get together in the room and figure out what they need to do going forward. Now, here's the thing. I'm being totally honest with y'all. I don't want to see us go one and done. By no stretch of the imagination, I don't want to see us go one and done. But I won't, as long as I'm almost on like what Shady McCoy said. If you bring back Kevin Patullo next year, well, Shady said, I don't want my my Hall of Fame, my name in the Hall of Fame for the Eagles no more. And I almost agree with him, because in the D we trust it. But Jay, now be honest. For years, I've told y'all the defense is going to win games, right? I mean, that's just the slogan of, what everybody know. Defense win games, offense sell tickets. I've been saying that for the longest. We saw that last week against the Buffalo Bills, which, to be honest, it's supposed to be the Bills and the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but our defense did what we wanted to do against that tough Josh Allen led team. Our offense just couldn't keep up. Our offense couldn't keep us in position to win the game. I mean, we won the game by 1 point because our defense got tired, defense got gassed. But you see Jalen Carter coming back off an injury, coming off of surgery for his shoulders, like he never left. The pressure we were getting on Josh Allen was crazy. And in the second half, if Kevin Patullo could design plays to sustain drives and not go 3 and out, Buffalo might not even have scored. That's the crazy part about it. If Kevin Patullo could drew plays up to where as though we can sustain long drives, didn't necessarily have to end in points all the time. Field goals would have been cool. But if he could have designed plays that end up in a long drive and not 3 and outs, Buffalo probably wouldn't have scored. That's how crazy our defense was playing. That's how lights out our defense was playing. I got people texting me talking about the Seahawks defense. It might be the best defense in the NFC. Man, listen, cut it out. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not saying they're not good. They are good. They are a good team. Would they finish the season 14-3? You can't take that away from them. But our defense is way better. I think the only advantage they may have over us is cornerback 2. They got 2 good cornerbacks on that team. This is if we make it through the playoffs with him, especially. He ain't going nowhere for sure. This is what matters the most, the playoffs. Here's my point. Here's what I'll say to that. If Kevin Patullo comes out and looks like a whole total different coordinator, a whole total different play caller, making adjustments, the team is rocking and rolling, I would consider keeping him for next year. Second best D at best. Yes, I agree. I would, if Kevin Patullo can rock and roll through the playoffs with some good play calling, some long drives on offense, and that's we come out Super Bowl winners. Yeah, I keep Kevin Patullo next year. I'll at least start off the season with him because you obviously showed us something when the lights were shining the brightest. The only thing that I would wonder is where was that all season long? Where was that all season long? Like the team should not have struck. Like, you know what, Jay? Let me tell you this. Let me say this. Every time I see Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni celebrate a touchdown, it irritates me. You know why it irritates me? It feels like they don't know that should be the norm. Like they don't know. It feels like they don't know that should be something normal for you with the team that you have. And that's the problem. Like with Kevin Patullo, when you got a team like this, and you got a team the way it's built, you should be sustaining long drives, wearing the other team's defense out, scoring touchdowns, scoring field goals, whatever the case may be, and your defense should be just shutting people down because they're not doing nothing but sitting on the bench waiting to get their turn. That's how easy this should be. But again, Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo has made it hard. And like I said, it irritates me when I see them celebrating, jumping up and down over touchdowns that they should know it should be a given. Those touchdowns that you celebrating should be a given. You should know that that's what's going to happen at any given time when you call the right plays. That should be a given. Why are we so hype about that? I don't remember seeing any of the great coaches jumping up in the air celebrating touchdowns in the middle of a game. Maybe a game winner, a game tie, a game tying touchdown, maybe something like that. But to be celebrating touchdowns that you know you should be getting, it irritates the crap out of me. If we don't, if we do in the playoffs, should we question it or should we see it as progress and being a first time play call? I would see it as progress. I would see it as progress. If he has a game, if he goes in the playoffs and he's calling plays at an all time high, like he's got a flow to the game, the offense is sustaining long drives, we should see it as progress. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if especially if it ends up, even if we end up in the Super Bowl or an NFC Championship, because nobody really predicting us to go there to neither one of them. If we end up in either one of those games, and because of the play calling Kevin Patullo has or has been calling, I would venture to say I'll go in next year to see what he could do. I would give him a shot for next year. Because at the end of the day, like, it's hard as heck right now to call plays for your offense because that now teams are really sitting there watching and studying film based off of who they're playing. So like if whoever's playing the Eagles right now is going to watch film, from the time they find out who when they play the Eagles and to the time of the game, they're going to study everything that they can study when it comes to the Eagles. So if you can find a way to get through that and get past that, and look like you're a professional play caller, a professional offensive coordinator, I give you another shot. Because this is the toughest part of the year to call plays. And having a homegrown play caller won't leave it after a few years. Is that a bad thing? I see what they're trying to do. This inconsistency. I don't care if you're homegrown. I don't care if you're homegrown or not. If you stink, you stink. What he did against the Bills and what he did all season long, he stunk. He stinks. There's no change in that. There's a game or two. There's probably only 2 games throughout this whole season that we could say we can individually blame on somebody. The Seahawks game, we could say we blamed on not the Seahawks. The Chargers game, we could say we blamed on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts played like trash that game. The Chicago Bears game, we could say the defense played like trash that game. But the rest of the games from the rest of those 15 games that even games that we won, especially like last week, if you want to be recent, last week, Kevin Patullo stunk in that second half. Kevin Patullo stinks in adjustments. I said it and I posted it when we went to halftime. When we went to halftime, what was the score? 13-0? And to come out of halftime and not even get a first down, constantly go 3 and out. I don't blame those games on Jalen Hurts. I don't blame those games. I didn't even like the comeback that they had 12. When they got within the 12 points. I don't blame that on the defense. They were gassed. What do you expect them to do? Like literally, what do you expect the defense to do when you're out there on the field as much as they are because your offense can't stay on the field? He didn't think he struggled with consistent play calling with the halves he's been having. That show a lack of experience, true, but not lack of talent. Jay, you can make all the excuses up in the world for it. That man stunk. He stunk all season long. And you're actually saying it by saying that he struggled with consistent play calling. You're saying he stunk. I mean, you're actually saying that. Like you can sit there and think that he struggled and this and the third. No, you're at a professional level, and I get it. This is your first time calling plays. I get it. I've said it all season long. A team this well built should not experiment with first-time play callers. A team with this type of firepower should not experiment with first-time play callers. They should not. So that's on Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni. More or less Howie Roseman, because Howie Roseman made the move to get Kellen Moore in here. So a team like that should not experiment with first-time play callers. Kevin Patullo is probably a good play caller for like an up and coming team, like maybe like the Saints, maybe like the Titans, maybe somebody like that who has zero or not a lot of expectations on them to get anywhere far. This team is built right now to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl, especially right now while everybody's pretty much in their prime and going through their prime. So he stinks on a team like this. He does. You cannot agree with it, but he stinks on a team like this. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have a future or career playing in play calling for a different team. But you and I know that with this type of experience that this team got, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, the offensive line, you cannot experiment with a play caller, especially coming off a Super Bowl. You almost have to be ready and expect that your team is going to be poached for your coordinators because you're winning Super Bowls and you're winning consistently. So you always got to get somebody with a little bit more experience than a first-time play caller because this team is built for that. His red zone leads the league. What counts as the offense coordinator is red zone efficiency and third down efficiency. So he have right. Got to get better at the other half. But that's what I'm saying, OJ. Like we could pull different plays and different things out to say he's good in this aspect and he's good at that aspect. His red zone. It's hard. Like to be honest with the team you have, Jay. You should be ashamed of yourself if you couldn't have red zone efficiency. And the only reason why they have high third down efficiency is because of the touch push. Now you see that's starting to fail. Now they need to do that touch push in the 2025. It's over. It's done. You could convert a lot of third and ones if you got touch push. If you was converting touch pushes. And even red zone. A lot of times in red zone you was touch pushing. So like that, I mean, does that really say that? Does that really give him the benefit of the doubt when you need a consistent, experienced play caller? When you need somebody who understands the flow of the game, can you really sit there and say Kevin Patullo possesses that? Can you really sit there and say he doesn't? But again, I'm not crucifying him, man, because he could probably be a heck of a coordinator for a team who doesn't have Super Bowl expectations. I mean, and I know that every team wants to, make the Super Bowl and go to the Super Bowl. But a team that's up and coming, the Saints, the Titans, teams that are young and trying to develop their identity, he can probably survive and call plays for games or teams like that. But a team with this much offensive power, you should not, like, Jay, we didn't lose pretty much anybody on offense last year from last year's Super Bowl run. We didn't. So why is our and don't get it wrong, we had some situations that you could sorry our offensive line hasn't been as healthy. Lane Johnson been hurt. We could but it should not be this bad of a drop off from last year to this year. We go from top 10 offense last year to like bottom half of the league offense this year. Like how to me, Tom, I'm just trying to figure out how can you sit there and make it seem like that what he's doing, we should give him the benefit of the doubt. Because what happens is when these guys like AJ Browns and all these other, all of our superstars start to dwindle down and we don't maximize the opportunity to win the Super Bowl, then what happens? You'll say, oh, now you'll blame Kevin Patullo. If he's had a bad year, saying then why hasn't he been removed already? It's hard to replace offensive coordinators in the middle of a season, and I know they did it before with Brian Johnson. I want to understand what I'm saying. He's not terrible. I just don't think that he's ready for the pressure that this team has. This team comes with a lot of pressure because you're coming off of a Super Bowl. And you still had the same firepower that you had in that Super Bowl. So you needed to be more prepared. He's not prepared as much as he should be. And it's hard to replace the coordinator in the middle of the season because nobody's going to want to. Everybody's going to want to install their own offense, and so it's hard to do that. So that's why you couldn't get rid of him. But if you go one and done in the playoffs, you get rid of him at the end of the season. If you go one and done, he's gone. He could be best friends with Nick Sirianni and everything. He's gone. Because think about it, this team has probably like 2 to 3 years left to maximize any championship window that they have. They have 2 to 3 years left. You know what I mean? And that really depends on salary caps and things of that nature because they got to watch the money that they have to give out because certain players that their cap hit is going to hit. You might have to move on from them, which decreases your chances. And you see all the young teams up and coming that are playing it, to get in that Super Bowl. This was the year that we should have went back to back. Have you heard that any of the players agree with you? No players going to come out and say that. I mean, no players are going to come out and say that Kevin Patullo is not a good coordinator. You wouldn't throw your coaches under the bus, just like coaches wouldn't throw the players under the bus. Not like that. But it's kind of obvious when you see A.J. Brown come out and say, and at one point in time, we didn't understand what he was doing. But we see A.J. Brown come out and say things about the offensive the play call, when offense is not being used the way it should be used or called the way it should be called. I mean, at one point in time, we thought he was talking about Jalen Hurts, but if you put 2 and 2 together, we see he's talking about Kevin Patullo. He's honestly talking about Kevin Patullo because at the end of the day, we can go back to last week's game. In the first half, you made an effort to get the ball to AJ. Second half, you just forgot everything that you did. You forgot everybody that was on the field. That's not a Jalen Hurts issue. That's not a Jalen Hurts issue. I watched so many outside commentators, like outside football analysts, say how in the second half people would say, "Well, Jalen Hurts couldn't complete a first down," but the plays that were being called for him weren't designed for him to have any type of success. Sometimes they reported mumbling. I mean, A.J. Brown is an example of that. A.J. Brown, if you really think about it, he's not even mumbling. He's saying it out loud, but it's just that at one point in time we thought he was directing it towards Jalen Hurts, but he's not. It's you can look at our offense and know. Now, don't get it wrong. Jalen Hurts is not throwing. He's very rarely going to throw a 50-50 ball. He's very rarely. Oh, you know what? This is what I just thought of. It just popped in my head. Think about it like this. I don't know if you against the Raiders, when Jalen Hurts threw the touchdown to A.J. Brown over the middle between like 3 guys, and Jalen Hurts went back over to the sideline. What did Nick Sirianni say out of his mouth? I don't know if you saw that. You better thank me for that play call. That was a heck of a play call. Thank me for that. Whoa. I wish I had the sound. Like, what? He basically saying that, I know how to call those plays. Kevin Patullo is not in tune with that. I think it was the last touchdown when they went up 31. So at the end of the day, like you see bits and pieces of different things happening throughout the games to let you know that Kevin Patullo is not equipped to be who he's supposed to be. I mean, guys like Nick Foles even came out and said, well, Kevin Patullo has never called plays, right? He's always been up in the booth. Maybe he could understand the flow of the game better if he was up in the booth versus being on the sideline. Nick Foles said it's hard to understand the flow of the game on the sidelines because you can't see everything. At least when you're in the booth, you can see the field. You can see everything that's around you. and it makes it better for play calling when you can see the whole view. Like when we see it on the TV and we're watching it from sideline to sideline, we see things that Kevin Patullo can't see. So it's a multitude of things that he has to do, but the ultimate blame becomes on him though. Again, like I said earlier, we can find games that we can individually blame a couple people here and there, but the way the season has played out is not on those players. It's on Kevin Patullo. Because you can't constantly go 3 and out and expect your defense to hold you down. Like they're not gonna get tired. Even though they rotate defensive linemen in and out, it still doesn't work. You're asking people like Quinyon Mitchell to run 50 yards down the field every play, get off the field for about what was about 5, like not even 5 minutes. Get off the field for about 5 minutes, and then you're right back on the field. You didn't even have time to rest, and they keep doing that. So when you see Quinyon getting beat for a touchdown or a big play, I'm pretty sure his legs are tired. His legs are burnt. Because at the end of the day, he's on the field too much. That is not defensive problem. Again, the game that I would say was defensively the issue was the Chicago Bears. They couldn't stop neither one of those running backs if their life depended on it. The game I would officially blame on Jalen Hurts was the Los Angeles Chargers. That's the game I would blame on Hurts. But overall, this season has come down to Kevin Patullo and a lack of play calling or the lack of efficient play calling with this type of team. Again, anybody that's listening to me right now, I want you to understand, I'm not sitting here saying that Kevin Patullo can't go somewhere else and have success. I just think the way that this team is constructed and built, it would be better for Kevin Patullo to be on a team that has no expectations of Super Bowl. Not no expectations, but they're a younger, up-and-coming, developing team. He would be better for a team like that. This Philadelphia Eagles team, the way we're constructed and built, we need a coordinator that has experience, that knows how to make adjustments, that knows how to, make you think that I'm running the same play that just worked the last drive, but I'm using that formation. I'm running something totally different out of it. Kevin Patullo hasn't had that yet. He hasn't had that yet. And that is a problem and why we are looking the way we look this year. So that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't want to be smart, but, Stevie Wonder could see that. Anybody could see that. This is first year. Maybe you should say that one more year. After one more year. No, here's the point though. You give Kevin so put it like this. Again, like I said to y'all earlier, our Super Bowl window, we got 2 to 3 years left in it. We lose this year. The teams that are around us are getting better or going to get better. We go into next year pretty much doing the same thing we did this year with Kevin Patullo. That's another year lost. I can't sit there and say that out as a fan. And even if I was the GM of the Eagles right now, this is what I would have did. If I was the GM of the Eagles right now, I would have brung in an offensive advisor, to Kevin Patullo. I'd have had somebody with experience in play calling, experience in play, on this type of level, advising him of what he should be doing and what he should run and help him develop different plays. That's what I would have did. But if I'm the GM and I didn't do that and we lose this year, I'm getting rid of Kevin Patullo. I'm not taking a chance on next year. Or even if I don't get rid of him, maybe I demote him and bring in an official play caller and have Kevin Patullo study underneath him so that, it works better for us. You're assuming that the Eagles are not going to the Super Bowl. Can you say with any type of confidence right now that the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl based off of what you've seen just even in the last game? Can you say that with any type of confidence that, oh, I know that the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl because especially based off the last game we played, and not to mention what you've seen all season. Not to mention what you've seen all season. We sit here and Mom, we talk a lot, and we talk about how we stress out watching these Eagles play football. We don't have any type of assurances that the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl based off of what they've done, even just off the last game. So I'm not wrong for what I'm doing, and I started off the show by saying, if Kevin Patullo finally figures out a way to change and adapt and play calling, I'm willing to give him a chance. If we can end up in the NFC Championship and it's or the Super Bowl, I'll give him another shot for next year. And especially if the play calling looks like it should look with the team that we have. I believe Green, but I honestly don't think they're going this year. Yeah, sorry. I bleed green as well. I look at me. Look at my background. Look at everything I got. I got jerseys all over there. I got jerseys everywhere. I bleed green. I'm passionate. I started the podcast thinking, wanting to talk about the Eagles, wanting to talk about the Sixers, wanting to do all this stuff because I love my Philly teams. One of the worst things about Philly teams is that we're not accustomed to winning. So sometimes we sit there and we accept what we get. And if they do, I don't believe they will win. Now, if they do, it depends on who they play. Because like I said, I think the offense. I mean, I think the defense will hold us down. I think the defense will hold us down. But like I said, I bleed green, and I started the podcast believing in the fact that Philadelphia sports, we are not accustomed to winning, so we always are. We take what we get, and that shouldn't be the norm. That shouldn't be what we should expect. I have a friend, Phil, if you're watching, I'm talking about you. He crucified me for, crushing Jalen Hurts for that game against the Chargers. Just because you won me a Super Bowl last year, just because you won me a Super Bowl or been in the Super Bowl 2 of the last 3 years, doesn't mean you're above criticism. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't mean you're above criticism. Because I'm even sure that Jalen Hurts would tell you, but yeah, I stunk in that game. I stunk in that game, and I should have played better. And he did say that in the press conference, but I'm wrong for saying it because I'm a true diehard fan, and I just want the best for what we got. We got the talent right now to go back to back. We have the talent right now to go back to back. The only thing that's standing in front of our way is Kevin Patullo because we're not sure about him. I hope I'm wrong and I'm not a fair weather fan. I just don't think they're as powerful as last season. No, you're not wrong. You're not a fair weather fan either. You're realistic. Most people will say, I've seen celebrities even say, it don't matter if we don't win a game the rest of the season. We won a Super Bowl last year. Like, what kind of fan are you if that's what your expectations are? You're used to you have a loser mentality if that's what you want to go with. We won a Super Bowl last year. That's fine and dandy, but that was last year. You even see Jalen Hurts say, "I'm not even putting my Super Bowl ring on because that was last year. I'm on for I'm on to the next year. I'm on to try to get better next year." So that's not being a fair weather fan or anything like that. That's being realistic. You haven't had the assurances that you had last year, this year, to say that I think we can win a Super Bowl. I said at the start of last year's season, I said, when we first got Saquon, I said, "Oh, this team's going to Super Bowl. This team is going to the Super Bowl." And a lot of people said it didn't matter that they got Saquon. They're not going to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is going to be the problem. And it started off rough. And I was starting to second guess my prediction until after the bye week. we got our stuff together, got an identity for ourselves, and we took the league by storm. That's when Saquon Barkley just started running all over everybody. And so it reassured us that we have what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And I started believing after that. I started, and it was games that we were just barely winning, maybe by touchdown, 3 points, whatever the case may be. But I knew I had the feeling in my body that we was going to win a Super Bowl. Going into this season, where even the draft, we had a good draft for defense, for all the defensive players that we lost. I believed that we could do it. I was skeptical of Kevin Patullo because I didn't know what he was going to bring to the table. But I just thought with the success that the offense had last year, you should be able to see what we did last year and build on that. It's not just play calling; it's players too. So that's where I disagree with you. Players do have a big. See, I think you not understand what I'm saying. Players do have a big part in this too. You have to execute. I agree with that. You have to execute the plays. You have to make catches. You have to make runs. You have to execute. I have not absolved any player from not being good for this team. I have not. You've heard me just say that I killed Jalen Hurts for how he played against the Chargers. I've killed the defense for how they played against the Bears. AJ Brown has dropped balls. Dallas Goedert has dropped balls. Devontae Smith have dropped balls. I've not gave them their fair share of the blame. But if you're really looking at the way this offense is playing, those drops that those guys are having, that's a typical drop throughout a regular season game, right? But the problem is that when you're not adjusting to the second half and teams are coming out in press conference, players are coming out in press conference for other teams saying, we knew what they was going to do before they did it. As soon as they lined up, we knew what it was. You can't blame a player for that. The player don't call the plays. You can't, and you've seen evidence of it when we came back to beat the Rams early on in the season. When Jalen Hurts was calling the plays in that second half, guess what happened? Come back to win. So that should tell you that there's a problem with coaching and play calling. Players have to execute. Players definitely have to execute. We can call the best, most explosive plays in the world, but if a player's not executing, then that's a player's problem. But if I'm not calling the right plays, if I'm not putting you in the best positions to win, then it's my problem as a coach. So, I mean, you cannot understand what I'm saying. I'm not blaming players because they have to execute, but I'm also telling you that if you looked at the games this season, it's more of Kevin Patullo that has been an issue than it has been anybody else. More of Kevin Patullo than anybody else. All right. Now, with that being done, we're into the pick'em, the last pick'em of the regular season. I did say that I might do some playoff pick'ems because we still will be doing live shows throughout the playoffs and Super Bowl. Hopefully, the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl and we can celebrate another Super Bowl victory. But again, this is the last pick'em for the regular season. I did not announce whether there's going to be a prize or not for the overall winner of this season's pick'em. I don't know. I'm gonna make a special announcement. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do it and what I want to do and things of that nature. But shout out to everybody who played. We did a different format this year, which was more accurate, more easier for me. Less papers I had to keep and copy and write down and things like that. So it was a lot better for me this year than it was last year. We're gonna stick to the format. Hopefully, get it even better. But shout out to everybody who played. I appreciate it. It means a lot. All right, we saw yesterday. First of all, let me just tell y'all. Last week I went. What did I do last week? Hold on, let me get my paper. Because the reason why I have to talk about this is because people like Jason and my mom sit there and talk trash. But my pixie, she's talking it now. But your picks still stink. Mom, last week you went 10-6. Oh, I went 9-7.
What?
9-7. But that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. We ain't even worry about that. We ain't talking about last week. That was in the past. Um, last week is in the past, so we ain't talking about that. Anyway, we saw Carolina lose to Tampa Bay, and we saw Seattle beat San Francisco. Um, she's laughing, and then whatever. So what? That I let you. I felt sorry for Jason, so I let y'all win. So it's all good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, no, ain't no told you. So today we got Cleveland at Cincinnati. This is where I'm gonna go on a run at, Mom. This right here is where I'm gonna go on a run at these games here. I got Cincinnati in that game. I believe Cincinnati is just gonna finish the season on a high note, only because like I said in the video earlier that Joe Burrow has to walk back some comments he made about it being boring playing football. So I'm going Cincinnati in that game. I think Cincinnati, Joe Burrow will end the season on a high note. My mom goes Cleveland. I understand that, but like I said, I think Shador Sanders will still have a good game. I think he'll still play some good ball in this game, but I think Cincinnati will find a way to come out with a victory. And I don't know if Myles Garrett got the sack record yet, but I think he definitely will get it in this game, the last game of the season, kind of like a walk-off thing. But I think Myles Garrett get his sack record this game. Next game, New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons, I don't know what their identity is, who they are, what they do, none of that. They've been so up and down this year. They have a good team too. They have one of those teams that they could have made a good Super Bowl run had they had some good coaching. You said not too late for you to change to my picks. No, it is. I'm not doing that. Because it's not worth it. You know what I mean? So I did pick New Orleans in this game because, like I said, I don't understand Atlanta. Atlanta is not. They haven't really been consistently good all year long. So I did go Saints in this game. My mom went Saints, so we both went Saints on that. So let's see how many of these picks going forward that you picked because I picked. Next game is Green Bay at Minnesota. I went Green Bay. J.J. McCarthy is playing in the game, but I Green Bay has to try to establish some type of rhythm going in the playoffs, or they will be one and done. So I think today kind of gives them, and they might not play a lot of starters, or they might not play them the whole game, but they need to get some type of rhythm going because they've been suffering some injuries the last couple of weeks, but they need to get back in football shape. So I'm going Green Bay. My mom went Green Bay as well. Next game is the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Giants, I think, are the number one or number two. I forget they top 5 in draft order. So I think they kind of might want to lose this game. I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys, even though I can't stand them Cowboys. I'm going with the Cowboys to win this game. See, started to pick my teams. I told you. I got Dallas in that game. Dallas, I think, they have like the number 1 and number 2 offense in the league. So that even though the Giants have one of the best pass rushing defenses in the league, I think Dak still finds a way to come out and just do Dak things that he's like he's done all year long. Next game, Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars is they're Trevor Lawrence has been playing good. I guess their coach has got the best out of him. So Jaguars keep pushing through the playoffs. This talks about the Jaguars making it to the Super Bowl, being as though Patrick Mahomes and we don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to be in or not. They play today, in a crucial playoff game today against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see. Comments coming, Nate. You're picking mine. No, see, here's why. Here's why I'm not picking yours. I did a video and I posted it yesterday of all my picks. Even though I know y'all don't watch them, but my picks were already out there before I'm telling you today. So there's more of a chance that you saw that video and wrote down the picks that I said and copied off them. So that's how. So you got Jacksonville. My mom went Jacksonville. Next game is the Colts at the Texans. Old man Phillip Rivers didn't come in and help them get to the playoffs, which I didn't really think that he would. He's been 5 years removed from the game. Coming off the couch, he did some good things. Being as though he's been 5 years removed for that team coming back, but it wasn't enough to get him to get him to where they wanted to go before Danny Dimes or Indiana Jones got hurt. So I'm going Houston in that game. Houston got a top-rated defense too. That's why I would go Houston in that game. But I talked to you about mine over the phone. I don't remember that conversation. I don't remember you telling me anything about your picks over the phone. You got Houston. I got Houston. We both went Houston in that game. Next game is the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo. I mean, they might not play a lot of their starters too, just because of the type of game it is. University City, the best school around. I told you we had to tear it down because we were so far in advance of other schools that we had to tear it down. So it just, it's cool. Thanks for shouting this out. University City. My mind goes Buffalo. I went Buffalo in that game as well. Even like I said, a lot of the starters probably won't play the whole game. If they do play, I'm still going Buffalo. I got Buffalo. Next game, Detroit at Chicago. Jesse Hargrave got a big message. Hold on. This seems like most likely scenario for the Seahawks in the playoffs. Bird on bird action. Seahawks versus the Eagles, NFC Championship. The Eagles and Bears are going to most likely play the Packers or 49ers. The Rams will most likely play the Falcons or the Panthers, no matter who plays. The most likely winners are the Eagles, Bears, and Rams in week 1. This would mean Seahawks will play the Rams again at home in 2 weeks. Then the Eagles or Bears the next week. Hey, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. None of these teams in the NFC East or NFC fear me. The Bears don't fear me because I think we had an off day on defense when it comes to stopping the run. I think if we had to play the Bears or even the Seahawks, I think if we had to play the Seahawks in the NFC Championship, the pressure that I think we can get on Sam Darnold, will crush them from even making it far in the playoffs. So I don't fear none of these teams. I just think as long as we play our game, I think as long as the Eagles play Eagle-style football, we can get where we want to be and do what we want to do. It's just that we got to, again, like if you've been here the whole show, if Kevin Patullo could figure out a way to keep the offense on the field and not have the defense playing so much, none of these teams can stop us. None of these teams. So whatever team, Rams, I'm not even scared of the Rams. I'm not scared of the Rams at all. You see them losing down the stretch to different teams that they should have won against. So I'm not scared of the Rams. 49ers, Brock Purdy is when you put pressure on Brock Purdy, he's a deer in headlights. He doesn't play the same when you got consistent pressure on him. And the 49ers defense is not as good as that. They don't have any pass rush. So again, our success goes down to Kevin Patullo making the right play calls. That's what it comes down to. Buffalo was the last one. Detroit at Chicago. I picked Chicago in that game. That's our cousin Jesse. What's up, cuz? I'm sorry if I didn't know. I apologize. What's up, family? Chicago. I picked Chicago. My mom picked Chicago as well. at the end of the day, I think she really is copying off my picks, but we'll see. Chicago, like I said, Chicago has been playing some good football, and we're going to see what happens going forward. But like I said, I'm not afraid of Chicago. I'm not afraid of none of these teams in the NFC. But Chicago will win today. Next game, the Chargers at Denver. Denver. Even though I think the Chargers, I think they need this game for whatever. They need this game, I think, for playoff positioning. But I think Denver is just a better team. I don't think they're playing a lot of their starters either. I'm still gonna go with Denver. I got a good feeling that Denver is going to wind up winning. My mom with the Chargers in that game. Um, like I said, we'll see. That's what she finally uh, went against something that I picked. So that's just her trying to throw off the scent of the dog, saying that she's picking my picks. Um, Next game is Kansas City at the Vegas Raiders. Vegas Raiders, I think, got the number one overall pick, but I think they're just going to go out with a win. I think they want to go out with a bang. They didn't have the season that they thought they was going to have. I think they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs because Kansas City, they've been hurt. I think this is probably Travis Kelce's last game. Oh, she went 2 in a row against me. But I did go the Vegas Raiders, and I think the Raiders will wind up winning this game. And again, this would be Travis Kelce's, I think, last game. Next game is the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. Notice I put an emphasis on at the Los Angeles Rams. I got the Rams in that game. Watch my smoke. I like that. That was funny. I got Rams in that game. Arizona is just, I don't know what they do. They should have kept Kyler Murray. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's the reason why that team has underachieved, but I think that they should have never really went away from Kyler Murray, even though I know players that came out against him and his style of play and his professionalism. But I mean, I think he gave them the best chance of winning. My mom picks the Rams. Now she's back on track in the high of 68, and I get at Arizona. We don't talk about weather on this channel, so at the end of the day, this is not the weather channel. So if you want to talk about weather, go over to the weather channel and report that, and then you come back. Because I'm going to start putting flags on these messages when you start putting the weather on it, so you know that that's not acceptable on this channel. Okay? All right. Miami and New England. I got New England in that game. Miami. I was hoping that they would try to move on from Mike McDaniels because I would love him as the OC for the Eagles. I would love him as the OC for the Eagles. Brian Daboll. It's a couple other places. I even would take Kevin Stefanski if the Browns got rid of him because I think these are good offensive-minded coaches that can maximize the talent that we have and not let that window of Super Bowl competition close. New England, not because I went to school there. No, this time is not because you went to school there. It's because you knew I picked them. So that's why. Not because you went to school there this time, just because I picked them. That's why. Next game is the Commanders. Our game at the Eagles. I got the Eagles. The starters will not play. I think Commanders won a top 5 draft position, so they're probably not going to look to win this game because they want to solidify a good, position in the draft. So, see there, that's what I'm saying. High of 36. We didn't ask about the weather. 3 strikes, you're out. I let you know, 3 strikes, you're out. Okay, all right. But Eagles will come out with a win. I think the Eagles. I think this game will have a lot of these people who want to see what Tanner McKee can do on a high horse saying, "Oh, look at Tanner McKee! Look at Tanner McKee!" Whatever. Last game is the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is huge playoff implications because the winner gets to go to the playoffs. The loser goes home. This game, I went with Pittsburgh because I believe old man Aaron Rodgers would find a way to, play some like inspired, crazy, out of the ordinary style football. They will have to do it without DK Metcalf, But I believe that Old Man Rodgers will figure out a way to win this game and take his team to the playoffs. And with all the injuries and things that uncertainty that with Lamar Jackson and all that, I think Baltimore needs to regroup and come back next year with a different. I'm sorry. Please repeat how many wins you had last week versus how many I had. Last week's show was in the past, so we're not going to talk about the past, but we're on to the next week. We're on to the future, so that doesn't count anymore. And again, if you want to go in the past, we can talk about how many wins in the past I have. How many more wins I've had in the past than you. We can do it, but we last week I just leave last week at last week. Okay, Mom. All right. But again, Old Man Rodgers will come out and figure out a way to win. I got Pittsburgh in that game. My mom went Baltimore. Please broadcast my wins versus your wins next week. All right, if you want to do it, we can. If you want to do it, don't say I embarrass you or anything like that. If you want to do it, we can. I will do it. But anyway, that is the show. That is the final regular season show for the year of 2025-2026. It's been a blast doing this with you guys this year because I feel like each show, each episode, each time going live, I've gotten better, more comfortable, more engaging, um, and more entertaining. Thanks, Mom. And it's been fun because at the end of the day, sometimes people don't understand how stressful or how nerve wracking or how um, uncomfortable it is to get up here and go live in front of people that some of your peers and some of the people you don't know and talk about a sport or a team that you love. I mean, because it's hard. Everybody believes it. They see what they see on TV, and you could just get up there and do it. But I never forget the very first time that I did this 2 years ago. Um, I couldn't turn. I had to go live with somebody, and the person I went live with, I didn't even know him at that point. We just met based off some of the videos I was doing, and I asked him could he go live with me for my first show because I was so nervous. What I mean, I didn't know what to do and how to do it, and keep pushing. I am, and he just told me like just go up there, be you, have a good time, just talk what you talk what you know. Don't be afraid to be wrong and be corrected, and just have a good time. And that's what I've been doing. I've been getting looser and looser and looser as years come. I remember, like I said, real quick story time and let y'all go. But I remember first starting the journey, and like I said, I would be nervous, like butterflies in the stomach, heart racing, right before pushing the go live button. It would be like nerve wracking. I'd be sitting here like, oh my goodness, you would think that I was, getting ready to take a big exam or something and was scared to fail. But it hasn't been that after I gotten used to it, and it takes time and it takes, a lot of patience and a lot of effort. So it's a lot of work. And mind you, I do this, because I love it. I do this because I want to talk about the Eagles. I want even the Sixers. I got to figure out a schedule to talk about the Sixers because I still want to go live every Sunday, even after the Eagles season is done. But I want to talk about the Sixers and I want to talk about other sports too and other situations. But I'm tossing ideas around and trying to figure things out, and I'm keep pushing, as my mom just said. I'm keep pushing, keep going, and try to become a better version of myself each and every day that I do this, in hopes that one day you'll see me on the big screen and say, I remember when he first started out. I remember when he first started his show. Now look at where he's at. So that's the goal. Never to leave you guys behind. Always giving words of encouragement. I knew you could do it. You're my son. Just keep picking my picks. You'll be fine. See, you started off fine, and then you messed it up by keep saying I'm picking your picks. Oh man, what? But that's my mom for you. But again, like I said, I appreciate everybody who supported this vision of mine and who's come every week to show love and support and talk about the Eagles. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Like I said, we'll be live throughout the playoffs and even after the Super Bowl and everything like that. We'll be live. So we'll be looking forward to having conversation about what we watch and the games and things like that. And all I ask is that you guys come up here and just talk, text, engage, and do all that stuff that we do so that we can enjoy ourselves. But before we get out of here, let's do our usual 1-2 real quick. Even though we're playing our backups, let's give them support too.
Thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win.
What are we waiting for?
You know what you gotta do. Do it.
How you feel what's about to happen on this field, man? They gonna get it to us. We got to take it. They want to black out. We gonna get one black out. Stay together and keep fighting. Down. Time and knuckle up. Do everything they move. And it is Kurt's touchdown. Brian Westbrook, he scored. Touchdown. And the Eagles win. The Eagles win. Let's get into it all day. Relentless, relentless, relentless. Are you spirit? Are you power? Are you love? Give me what you got. Right now. Right now. If you ain't ready for a fight, go ahead and go home. Because that's what this gonna be for 4 quarters. A fight. We always win when we fight together. That's how winning is done.
Now get out there.
That's how winning is done. EMGLES. Eagle.
Flyers, Phillies, let's talk about them. Sixers, Eagles, let's talk about them. What the Union doing? Pull up with the crew and have a drink or two and let's talk about them. This a PHI bar. Bruce Willis, we die hard. I know you feel us, cause Philly fans is the best sports fans by far. No cheating here, we gon' keep it fair. You don't like my set? Somebody help them. This the key, if we can disagree without disrespecting, everybody welcome. So what we talking about? Practice? What we talking about? Let's unpack this. Top shelf, sports talk, lights, cameras, we active.